Welcome to U.S. Pro Criterium Championships. This race is in Charleston, West Virginia for 2024, and it started out pretty sloppy. We weren't quite sure what the weather was going to do, but it started sprinkling during the women's race, started raining pretty good during our race, so lots of paint on this course. You can see top left, it's an L-shaped course, and the biggest factors of this race are going to be this team here in front of me, Project Echelon Racing. I raced for them for like 3 years. They've got a lot of hitters this year, though. Right in front of me there is Stephen Bassett and I think Ricky Arnapol. And we're pretty much expecting them just to get to the front and line it up. They've got a lot of good dudes. They've got Scott, who's a great sprinter, Cade, great sprinter, Hugo, great sprinter. They're just like all weapons. So they've got the most guys. It'll probably be their best chance just to like go to the front and string it out, and that is exactly what they did. So for me on my team, we've got the red pants. Point them out a little bit later, but I'm just trying to get like right on their train and ride possibly in front of the wash machine, if at all possible. Rolling through all of these corners. It's kind of a technical course, but really only because of the rain. If it was dry, it would have been a lot faster and much more straightforward. Possibly more dangerous if it was faster, but we're still rolling along pretty well, going 30 miles an hour for most of it. And Echelon were in the first lap still. They're already 4 or 5 guys at the front, and the rest of their dudes are on the way shortly. Other teams in this race, on the left here, Rainstorm Racing, and there's also the Legion teams, Legion of Los Angeles, and Miami Blazers, and Austin Outlaws. Up there in front of me, in the orange and blue there, is also Lawson Craddock. He was sending pretty hard during the race. We'll see plenty of that World Tour guy. And Michael Garrison, who was in a bunch of my Speed Week races, and actually I think won Speed Week, but is also a weapon. So a little bit later on in this race here, I liked taking this inside line, and now we can see my boy Eli here, and then John Heinlein, one of my former Echelon teammates. We flew him out to race in Pro National Championships with us, and he was riding at the front pretty well there. But this outside line I also enjoyed. You can see Lawson on the inside. This outside line you could carry pretty good speed through, and oftentimes, like you can see right here, there was plenty of space. A little bit later on, and I found my way kind of the back of the Echelon train. That corner exit you can see had a curb there. You'll see that later too. But that was with 2 corners to go, so that was probably the tightest point of the course with that corner exit. But we're a few laps in, maybe 10 minutes in, and Garrison was up in the Echelon train. He was getting barged around a little bit. I think he ended up looking back and overlapped wheels, ended up eating it. He'd get pushed back into the race, and I think he was pretty alright from that. But a little hectic moment early on in the race there, and we got Scott McGill right there sending a corner pretty well, getting back up to his train, sweeping for that train, just kind of rolling together with his boys. Here's that outside line I was talking about before. Really like that. Not a lot of people were using it early, and I did. So jumping on to, I think this is Noah Granigan's wheel here from Miami Blazers. He ended up riding pretty well this day, but we're close to the front. Pretty out of the wash machine. When Echelon had it fast, it was a little bit easier race, because you would just stay in the position you were. Once it got slower, people would like chop into you. That's Lawson Craddock right there. You can see him on the right, and then I'm following Ty up on the left here, and moving up pretty well, I thought. But coming into this corner, we let up a little, and then Lawson back around the outside, full crit dog move, made it back up those spots. And then I got bunched in there pretty well. Ended up not getting a ton of spots, but it was kind of that the whole race. We were just moving up spots and moving back just in that wash machine there. A little bit later on, and I'm just trying to stay at the front of the wash machine, doing as little work as I can to do so, but guys like this, Iman Lucas and Lawson too, and also Michael Garrison would send these attacks. I think Garrison and Lawson had the most substantial one off the front for the longest period of time, but Echelon was just keeping everything on a super short leash as much as they could in the rain. Another attack was, I think, Tim McBurney from Mike's Bikes as well. Sent it real early, stayed away for a good bit, but nothing substantial really occurred throughout the whole race just because of the firepower of this Echelon Blue train. I'm on Cade Bickmore's wheel here. He got a pretty lucky number for the race, but riding right behind the Echelon train was actually like one of the worst spots just because, like you can see Tyler Williams on the right there. He wants to be on that train too. The Blazers Legion guys had a lot of dudes who like are super confident in crits and could take that wheel from you pretty easy. Every corner somebody would like come on the inside like that, and then losing a lot of space. Have to hit like 1300 watts just to get back at it, and then getting back onto my teammate Clayton's wheel right here. Getting back into the group, and yeah, just staying as far forward as possible, out of the mess as much as possible. Echelon with Colby had one little incident where he hit like a manhole cover and slid out into that last corner, but yeah, it was just pretty fast the whole time, very strung out in the field. You can see on the left here, Fergus Arthur and Brendan Fury, actually, they had a little run-in on that second to last corner where that curb was, and Fergus's bars got hooked on Monk's and almost ate it right in front of me, but they're both pretty skilled, so kept it up pretty well. We're starting to send now, 26 minutes left in the race. Monk swaying a little wide, took Lawson with him. I was able to follow Danny through that corner, so we didn't lose too much momentum, and then I had the inside of this next corner too, but Danny also saw the inside. This corner here, those bricks were actually really slippery. There were a few times where I was hitting the pedals pretty hard through those and would lose the rear end just a little bit. Every once in a while would lose the rear end a little more than I wanted to. On the right here, Lucas Burgoyne took a superhero line, made up a lot of spots. That was pretty ballsy and made it totally fine. Once I saw that, I was like, noted for later, and definitely took that line a little later. But here, 20 minutes to go, me and Clayton are trying to ride together as best we can. I didn't let Clayton know I was on his wheel, and I think he was like kind of defending through the corners, even though I was trying to like sweep for him a little bit, ride together. But yeah, like right here, you'll see I kind of lose my space to him there, but it was just getting pretty contentious. Right there, Johnny Clark taking the inside, and then we're just trying to keep up as much as we can. My GoPro died with about 15-20 minutes left in the race, so 10 laps to go. Just had Spencer, my mechanic, Spencer Johnson, on the sidelines there with another GoPro, so we'll fill in the coverage with the rest of that, but pretty much just stayed in the middle / front of the wash machine, trying to stay out of trouble as much as possible, and we're going to go to that sideline camera here. On the sidelines, you can see we're top 20 wheels for a lot of the last 10 laps. Just kind of trying to follow the wave, stay up as much as possible. Me and Clayton sticking together. It looks a lot better when you have two guys together. And Echelon just had it strung out on the front. They were trying to keep other trains from coming around, and it didn't seem like anybody was motivated to. The field was really stringing out there. And then 2 laps to go, Sam Boardman and Hugo eat it pretty hard. You can see Tyler Stites just finished his pool. This monster was on the front for, I think, 50 minutes of the race total. And the Echelon boys are finishing out their lead out. They still have like 8 dudes left. You can see Sam Boardman here in third wheel, Hugo on his wheel, and they're starting to pick the pace up through these corners. They're Brendan and Steven take that line, and then Sam enters a little bit later and hits a little bit more paint than they do at that speed, and so he washes out with Hugo. Cade, one of their sprinters, also got a flat coming around the outside of that, and Scott, one of their other sprinters, was able to jump back into the field. So after that little crash, Steven and Brendan Rhim had a good little gap, and they just kept rolling through. They posted up at the end, and Scott McGill took the win of the field sprint. So you can see them posting up here. Scott McGill with the field sprint win, and then me and Clayton back here, 9th and 10th in Pro Nats. Pretty good. That race was nuts. Thank you everyone for watching. It was a blast. See ya.